Alright, this video I want to go over this article just really quickly. Authorities charge 26-year-old convicted felon with Palm Springs shooting. And just really quickly says he's a convicted felon. He's illegally in possession of a firearm. And he's charged with killing 2 police officers. Okay, so this whole thing about gun control. Some of the killings that have been going on, these individuals has gotten these firearms legally. And then they always say, well, there needs to be gun control so this doesn't happen again. Okay, so you're blaming people for that. You know, there's got to be stricter background checks and all this other stuff they're saying. But then now this guy got the firearms illegally. He wasn't even supposed to have them, but he ended up getting it. And not only did he didn't kill regular people, he killed police officers. So this is an example of how, you know, this can't be stopped. You know, these felons still find a way to get their hands on these guns. And the lawful abiding citizens, how are they supposed to protect themselves? If they want to legally obtain a firearm to defend themselves, and then you restrict them from doing so, but yet you can't stop the felon from obtaining a firearm illegally, then how is that protecting the people? This felon was able to obtain a firearm illegally, and he was able to kill police officers who are armed with bulletproof vests. You know, so if the only people in this world that have guns are police officers, and convicted felons have guns, then what about the law-abiding citizen who's not a police officer? What about that person? What is he supposed to do? You know, he's not allowed to get the gun, but the convicted felon's allowed to get the gun? Like, how does that make sense? You know, you got the convicted felon who is he's putting the lives of police officers in threat. Imagine how much of a danger this person is to the general public. That's why the people in the general public, they need to be armed. They need to defend themselves against these convicted felons that have guns. You know, this is the only, you know, law-abiding citizens should not be prevented from obtaining firearms unless convicted felons are prevented from obtaining firearms. But if convicted felons cannot be, if they cannot be stopped from obtaining firearms, then law-abiding citizens should not be prevented either. I mean, I could understand a society where the only people in this entire world that have guns are police and nobody else. Law-abiding citizens don't have guns and convicted felons don't have guns, but still, that's still a huge threat to the society, because there are such things as corrupted police officers, and they could essentially just take over the entire world and just dominate the people. So there really is no other solution than to allow law-abiding citizens to arm themselves to defend themselves. And yes, there will be people that are not mentally fit to own these firearms that will create destruction with these firearms. But just because of these people who are irresponsibly handling these firearms and should not be having these firearms doesn't make it so then everybody should be disarmed. You know, it's a difficult situation, but this is a clear example that felons can't be prevented from obtaining guns and doing harm with them. And law-abiding citizens have all the right to defend themselves against these dangerous felons. So I just wanted to share those thoughts based on that article.